Peace, peace. Just gonna let the music play a little bit. We're gonna let the music play a little bit. Testing. Testing, testing. We just gonna let the music play a little bit. We're gonna let the music play a little bit because we have to make sure that we are in tune with the Creator. I like to say shalom, shalom, happy Shabbat to each one of you. Those who are celebrating Passover, Pesach, and those who are coming from out of the Feast of Unleavened like we are. We are so we want to welcome Shabbat Shalom to those who know that this is their symbolic Shabbat. And if this is not your Shabbat and you're just here watching, I like to say shalom, shalom, happy Shabbat. But make sure you tap the like button, the share button, and subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to this page yet. And make sure you allow others to know that we're here. We want to make sure that we get other people to take notice that we're here. Not saying that we're looking for a massive following. Nah, we just want to reach the ones that are open to learn truth, not one-sided truth, but truth. So let me get into this video, and we'll be getting ready to start. Let's go. The question is, are you really woke? Let me see if you agree with some of the things that I'm going to say today. He wants to stay a slave, man. She wants to stay a slave, man. Learn to be your own man, to stand up in your own lane. Why force me to be an African when I tell you my roots are American? The same way you force that fake religion. You rule through chaos and division. This is how you claim the land. You need my people to disband, because through unity we will expand and expose your lies and the hidden hand. Provide one document that said African eugenics movement. Y'all a big fan. You're only speaking their talking points. Yahweh shot the priest who did anoint him. The question got you stuck on a limb. Read the books like being in a gym. The margin of error is really slim. That's why you can't stand I'm from Shem. The royal bloodline. And I ain't finished. Watch this. It was about the land of milk and honey, meaning the resources. That's the real money. The Mississippi was the trade line. The Canaanites was the first to always take mines. I'm a racist because I love myself. Then why your people isn't sharing the wealth? Cut the check. He wants to stay a slave, man. She wants to stay a slave, man. Learn to be your own man. To stand up in your own lane. He wants to stay a slave, man. She wants to stay a slave, man. Learn to be your own man. To stand up in your own lane. It takes energy just to really hate. When you know the truth, then why debate? The Greenback Party, who are they? The Democrat Party formed the KKK. Berbers, Iberians, Moroccos are the real Moors. They are hue complexion. Okay, you want some more? We are the true warriors of the Most High. Captivity won't end until you learn to cry. Divide and conquer is individuality. Not being a nation is straight insanity. Stop allowing other nations to tell your story. Family lineage, do your own inventory. Before they came, we had major cities. Tell me how they gain control over all your cities. Who sit on those committees? Tell me who really sit on those committees. Indigenous Talk for the Righteous, Entertainment LLC. Are you really woke? Wake up. Wake up from your slavery. Peace. He wants to stay a slave, man. You agree? She wants to stay a slave. Disagree. Learn to be your own man. To stand up in your own lane.
Okay, just wanted to kind of bring that video back up because a lot of us are waking up. We're waking up to the lie that been told to us as a people, and you know we want to make sure that we get to the point of actually allowing us to know the truth. But you still have some false information that's being pushed. And I'm not just talking about on one side or the other. I'm talking about on all sides. So today we're going to get back into Genesis, the 3rd chapter. And we want to keep pushing further on into the scriptures to try to get the point of what the scriptures are actually saying. Now, those who would like to join the chat can also do so. The link is in the chat. We want to make sure that if you like to donate to the channel, not saying that we're asking, forcing, or making you. It's up to you. Rather, if you wants to support this channel, you can if you want to. The link is at the Cash App is at the bottom. So I thank the Creator for giving us to this point of where we're at. Now, before I move forward, I need to blow my shofar. Thank the Creator for giving us this day, this time, this hour, this second, this minute to be able to come together, to be able to hear His word, We like to open up with a prayer. Thank you, the Creator, for all that you have done, the things you will do, the things you have done, and the things you are doing. We thank the Creator for just allowing us to be able to open up our eyes once again, to be able to tell you thank you, to be able to just acknowledge you as the presence of this world, who's controlling all. Nothing controls you. We thank you for just allowing us to get to this point in our life, what we call life today. We ask the Creator to forgive our forefathers for the ignorance or the deliberate things that they have done. We understand judgment must be paid with a penalty and with a price, but we ask the Creator to allow us to be that flower that bloom up, to be able to come past the penalty and to be able to move forward, not just into salvation, but also life that you have created to be. That's why the scriptures say he had to declare the end from the beginning. And we are trying to get back to the beginning because our forefathers have failed from the beginning and have put us into this fallen state. And we thank the Creator for not allowing his presence to be moved totally, but to allow us to just experience parts of him, some of him, whereas that we will understand the likes of him. So we thank the Creator, and we're going to move forward into today's lesson, the war between male and female. This is part 12. Because see, a lot of people, they look at the war between male and female, and they look at it like, oh, you know, this right here and that right there. And no, there's a war that's literally going on between male and female. And in order to understand it, you have to understand the literal part of what is really taking place. A lot of us, we don't get to the point of trying to figure things out. We just try to just say, oh, this is what it is. We put our own opinion in it. And, you know, we tries to bring to an understanding of what we believe and try to keep the spiritual point of it out. But you cannot keep the spiritual point out because you are an energy being. Everything about you is energy. But we try to make it look like we created our own selves. You didn't create you. I don't care how much you claim you could break down this and you can understand that, but you didn't create it. And then we'll say, oh yeah, I know there's a big chief, or I know that there's a creator, but you don't acknowledge the creator. Because you think you did it. This is why we have to, this is the reason why we have to begin to look at things for what it is. Now, just getting back into the lesson from last Shabbat, which was Friday night. We started on Friday night because we had celebrated Pesach over the weekend. The garden is cursed, and Adam was having a hardship all the day long, meaning he's not gonna have peace. He have to now struggle. And a lot of times we look at this struggle like it was just something easy. No, this was something that was great, that the nation of Adam, or if you believe in just one man and one woman, that this that Adam had to go through. But I know this was a nation, not just a one man. Okay. Then at times it will singularize itself to become one man. But it's really talking about a nation. That's the first thing you got to understand about Adam's curse. The garden is cursed, and now Adam would have hardship all the day long, meaning he's not going to have it easy like he always had. Number two, Adam will have a pricking and a remorse feeling that he will have to eat because the good-looking herbs that the Creator gave him, he would have to now go out to get it because it would be in the field, meaning it would be spread out. Okay? It would be spread out. So now, for his food being spread out, number three, Adam would be emotionally unstable and will have to fight and engage in fighting until he become normal or return back to the garden to restore it. So Adam is not going to have peace. He's not going to have peace, family. He's going to have to now fight. And now you got to understand who he's going to fight. Okay? Who the nation of Adam going to have to fight. Because it's not going to be an easy battle. All right? Number four. He called his wife Eve because her reputation was what her reputation was, but that is now what her reputation is now, meaning she's the wife or the mother of the dead. Separated herself from the living. When she investigated that fruit, when she began to see herself dealing with that fruit, she began to now investigate. She began to now not live. She began to die now. Okay, she's the mother of the dead. The word mother means to be separated. So she separated herself from what was alive. She can no longer relate to that. And number five, Adam and Eve was in different dimensions. They were put in different dimensions was wrapped around them. That's the coats that was put on them, dimensions. And I went through that last Shabbat about those dimensions. So if you missed it, go back and watch part 11. And if you didn't understand the point of the wife, you need to go back and watch part 10 and part 9. A lot of stuff that I'm talking about, these are just the breakdowns in what I have, when I did my study, what I have came across. Okay. So now, without no further ado, we're going to pick back up in part 12. And this is coming in verse 22. Part 12, verse 22, because we end at verse 21. Okay, and if anybody have any questions, you may ask questions from any of the parts that, if you have went back to monitor it, you watched it or view it, you can also bring your questions up front. But without no further ado, we're going to go ahead on and move forward into part 12. Okay. And Genesis 3:22 says, and the Creator said, behold, the man is become as one of us. Now that's key right there now. He's become like one of us to know good and evil. And now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Now, a lot of people say, well, Adam, if you pay attention to the verbiage of what's being said, it says the Creator, and because of the fallout, the Creator said. The Creator uttered from the fallout because of the fallout, the Creator spoke. Behold, that word means though, meaning despite the fact that. However, so despite the fact that I created him to be this way, however, he turned out to be what? Another way. He thought in a whole nother realm. He moved himself away from what was given to him. And it says the man means Adam, not any other man. It's talking about Adam himself or the nation of Adam. And notice what he says, is become. And that word is become means to exist. Despite the fact that I created him to do this, he ended up doing something else. I want you to think about that. He ended up doing something else. In fact, I made him, I created him to do this. Give me 1 second. In fact, I created him to do this. He ended up doing something else. Now, I want you to pay attention to that. And it says, the man, meaning Adam, is become. Is become means to exist. So the Creator is about to break down right here in this particular verse that Adam is no longer operating like he created him to operate. And that's why he says this man, Adam, this nation is now existing. He exists. And notice what it says, as one of us. And the next two words is as one. And that word means another or the other to go one way. See, or another to be sharp. So that letting you know what? Somebody else did something differently than how the Creator purposed or programmed them to be. Okay? I want you to pay attention to that. I know you are, but I'm just saying this is getting into something where we're getting ready to talk about in a minute. Man had become like one of us. He exists. Despite how we created him, Adam now exists like the other, like another to go one way. What the way is? The way is opposite in how he was purposed, or they were purposed. That reminds me of today. We got people who were purposed to do this, but they're going the opposite way of themselves. And the Creator is identifying this thing, that the reason why what he have saw in Adam, and the reason why he's acknowledging this is because there was a fall before Adam. So Adam and Eve were not the first to fall. No, I'm showing you this now. They were not the first to fall. There was a fall before them. Okay. So now, since man is now moving into a multi-dimensional area and cannot control none of it, this is another curse, not just upon the male, but also upon the female, because both of them are in this dimension. But the male is going to be the one that has to pull her out of it. She has to help guide him. She has to help him in through these doors. She can either keep him at the bottom, or she can help him rise to the top. It's one or the other. Some people say, "Whoa, no, Man, please. If you got a female in your home and she decided to go at the bottom and stay at the bottom, she could bring you down. Y'all need to quit the playing. She could bring you down. She can bring you down. So this is not the first man or nation to fall. I'm showing you this now. And notice what the next one says, as one of us. Of us means expelling in comparison, meaning when compared. So Adam is now being compared to what had fell before him. He's now being compared to that. So when Adam fell, he wasn't just he just didn't fall to sit there and say, well, a lot of people say, well, Adam was the first to fall. No, he was not. He's being compared to the nation that fell before him. See, a lot of us, we don't clock into this. We kind of have a hunch, but we don't realize what is really taking place. So Adam is being compared to that nation that had fell. And that nation that he's being compared to, notice what the next one says, to know. I'm breaking down verse 22. To know. And that word to know means to become acquainted or familiar or informed. Because that nation became acquainted or familiar with the realms that Adam and Eve is now about to become acquainted with. See, this is who Adam and Eve going to have to fight. If you go back up to if you go back up to verse 20, hold on, let me make sure. Not 20, no, verse 19. If you go back up to verse 19, and that word says, out of thy face, bread. Let me go back up with you. Thou shalt eat bread. Where it says, out of thy face, thou shalt eat bread. See? He's going to eat bread. That word bread means war. He's going to have to do battle. Okay? Till thy return. Meaning till he can get back to the garden, Adam is now going to have to fight because he's now going to be stuck in these dimensions of where he's going at. And he's not going to be the first to be acquainted here. He became co-inhabitants with good, meaning agreeable and pleasant, and evil means disagreeable and unpleasant. So Adam is not going to, the nation of Adam or Adam and Eve is not going to be on one accord. They're not going to be on one accord. And this is where we have different understandings. This way we don't acknowledge the separation. And that's why we don't get it. Because we look at, well, everything was the same. Everything was not the same. Everybody was on the same frequency. Everybody was not on the same vibration. They were not. Okay. So they became acquainted or informed or familiar with being agreeable or disagreeable. They became acquainted with it. We're still in verse 22. And notice what it says, and now, meaning that word, and now means time, meaning of an event of or meanwhile season. So we're talking about now an event or a season. See, that's how you know this thing didn't just happen overnight. For them being removed from the garden didn't just happen overnight. Meaning of an event or meanwhile season. They became agreeable and or disagreeable. And during that time or during that season, that things were operating to put them out of the garden. The Creator say lest, that word lest, L-E-S-T. That word lest means to beware, to turn towards or from or away. See, lest he what? Beware, to turn towards. See, beware means to be cautious. Is he cautious to turn towards? See, he's going to be very cautious because he realized, like I said on last week, he see what's in his hands, and now he's realizing what's slipping away. And there's nothing he can do about it. So he's going to become aware. He's already aware. He's already aware of what? Of what can help him. And the Creator saying, no, lest he put forth, meaning if he turn towards, if he become aware and turn towards or from himself totally and put forth, meaning notice in verse 22 it says he put forth, meaning to stretch out or extend. And the next two words is his hand. And that word hand means power or his strength in a certain direction. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to this part because Adam is now, the Creator is now kind of looking at this thing. And he's noticing what Adam can do. Adam already fell. He already knew that. He's moving Adam out of the way. Everything is now becoming, it's becoming void in Adam's hand. His power gone, his strength gone, his marriage gone, everything is gone. He has no more jurisdiction. None of that is valid to Adam no more. So the Creator is now taking an assessment. And he's showing that Adam was not the first nation to fall in verse 22. Adam just become another nation that failed. This is what's happening. Make sure y'all do the like button and subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, and press the share button. But just do something. If you would like to give to the Cash App is at the bottom. But you can and you don't have to, but make sure you do press the like button. It don't cost you nothing but to subscribe or to press thumbs up. Thank you. So Adam was not the first to fall and become acquainted to either agree or disagree. So meanwhile, beware to turn towards and stretch out his strength or his power. So the Creator was taking an assessment. What was being done was an assessment, is before he literally make a move. He's making an assessment to Adam. Okay? He's making an assessment. And when he take an assessment to Adam, see, Adam can move in one particular way to try to help save himself, even though it won't. But you know how sometimes when you're drowning, you grab onto anything? When you see you're losing a lot, you become desperate that you begin to reach for anything that can help save you. And sometimes you can, when somebody's out there to save you in the middle of the water, what they first thing they say, let them drown, and then you save them. Because you can always revive them back. Because if you try to save a person in the midst of them drowning, they're going to drown you. So you let them drown, or you let them weigh themselves out in the water. You let the water beat them. Then you get out there and save them. Because if you save them in the midst, they're going to end up drowning you or hurt you. And then both of y'all are gone. So you let the water beat them up for a while. Then when you let the water beat them up for a while, or let them drown just for a second, then you drag them on out the water. Because they ain't fighting no more. Then you get them on safe grounds, and then you begin to pump the water out their lungs. So this was what was going on during the time of Adam. The Creator is taking an assessment. He said, you know what? We have to become beware to turn. He's going to become aware to turn towards and extend out and stretch out or extend his power or his strength. And then the next word says to take. To take means to lay hold of. See, he's going to use his power and his strength to lay hold of. This is like a man's drowning. See, you got to visualize this thing. Adam is drowning away from the garden. He's drowning. He's leaving the garden. He's not literally leaving just yet, but he's leaving. He realizing a lot of things about him is being lost, and there's no way he can get it back. Not right now. So he's drowning, and now he's trying to grab hold to something that he knows is going to help him. So the Creator said, lest he take hold or lay hold or marry. That word also means moreover. What moreover means? What do the word moreover means? Because moreover, because it says also means to be, it means moreover. So moreover as a definition means as a further matter. See? As a further matter. So he take hold, he gonna lay hold or marry, and then here's a further matter. What he's gonna lay hold of further, the framework. That word tree means the framework. And then notice what it says of the what? Living. Of life. Excuse me. Salakia, of life. What is that life? Living, everything that's alive. Things that did not go against the Creator. Adam is now going to try to take hold of that. And notice what it says, and what? And what? Verse 22, and eat. Meaning to consume or devour. Does it mean he's going to eat what's living? No. It means that he's going to go up among them and he's going to contaminate that. Meaning if he can, he would try to contaminate that as well. That's why I told y'all, if a person is drowning, you let him drown, or you let the water beat him up for a while and they'll stop fighting. And then you go and rescue them. Because if you help a man that's drowning, that man will pull you under, or that woman will pull you under as well. Now both of y'all are dead. We don't need two dead bodies in the water. And this is what verse 22 is saying. If he allow Adam to stay, Adam and Eve is going to contaminate the rest of everything that's living. To try to what? and live. And notice what that next word after eat and live, meaning to save life or to revive. See, he's going to try to save his life or their life because Adam and Eve is drowning. Hey, Adam is drowning. He's done. See, the water ain't beat him up yet. He ain't drowned yet. So he's saying, look, no. Look. He's going to be aware. He's going to try to hold on, grab hold. He's going to try to do everything he can to save what he have left. Therefore, he's going to try to what? Contaminate everything else. And the creator said, I can't have that. And notice what it says, forever. To save his life forever, meaning a long duration or what? Antiquity. Or futurity, meaning the future time or future events. See, when things happen, that's when he's going to try to grab hold to things that is not contaminated and contaminated. What is antiquity? See, because we missed these words. Antiquity means the ancient past, especially the period before the Middle Ages. See, now this is where we're going at. We're going at the period before the Middle Ages. This is the period forever. Forever is just talking about an age or a period of time. But we look at it like, oh man, that was like 1,000,000 billion years ago. It was talking about a particular age. So it was said to let them go from the garden because he can take hold of the what? Tree, meaning the framework of life, and consume it to try to revive his life by actually destroying the framework of life forever. Because once when something is contaminated, it has to go through the process to be decontaminated. So Adam is now going through the process of being removed. He's drowning. Adam is drowning. He's drowning. And this is one thing that we have to pay attention to. Adam is drowning. And the Creator is removing everything that can create a lifeline for him. He gonna let him go on out to the wash. Like some of the old people say, going out to the wash. Going out to the wash. And this is what happening. This is what happening with Adam. See, I'm putting it in a way that you can visualize it. Not just getting into a story like the churches or religion do. We ain't trying to do that. We trying to give you a literal point of view, whereas that you can view it in actual time period to see exactly what's really taking place. So Adam is now, everything that can hold Adam in place is now being removed. Now we jump to verse 23. Any questions thus far before I move forward? Put in the chat, comment, or you can come up on the panel and you can ask. Make sure you press that thumb up button if you haven't. Press the like and subscribe button if you haven't. And if you would like to give, they go to Cash App at the bottom. It's going across the screen. It's not saying you're obligated, but anything a person choose to do is welcome. And even if you press the thumb up or thumb down, that's welcome as well. We just like to see what you are saying, thinking, and what you are believing. So we thank the Creator for just allowing us to get to this point into this study of the fight between male and female. We're in part 12, and I would like to thank everybody without you and listening to the channel, hey, we'll be here, but we won't be out the way we are right now. You know, we're not looking for we're not looking for a multitude. A lot of people looking for a multitude so they can get paid. We're looking for those who wants to hear the truth. And the truth is going to expose the lie, and that remnant will begin to surface and come forward. So let's get back on into it. Let's get into verse 23. Verse 23. So now in verse 22, we realize that Adam is now everything that's holding Adam and that could hold Adam and that will hold Adam in place. Now the Creator's removing those. The Creator's removing each one of those lifelines. Okay, the lifeline is being removed from Adam. So he's not going to be able to stand. He gonna have to go on out to the wash, like the old people say, going on out to the wash. You gonna have to take this L. You gonna have to take it, and you have to redeem yourself back from it. Okay, you gonna have to redeem yourself back from it. All right, you gonna have to take this L. Verse 23 says, "Therefore, the Creator, from the fallout, the Creator sent him. Notice it says him from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken." Now, right there, we say, oh, that's when death came in. See, he went back until he died again, back and go back to the ground. See, that's when, man gonna work to the sweat of his brows. That's not what this is talking about. Give me 1 second. I need to plug up something real quick. Just give me 1 second. Let me put on a little bit of music real quick. Give me 1 second. All right. Sorry about that. I had to take something. I had to plug something up. Something was down. I thought I had it plugged up, but I didn't. But verse 23, notice what it's saying. Notice what it's saying. Verse 23, Adam is getting ready to go out. He's getting ready to get put out of the garden. And notice at the end, it says that word, forever is talking about antiquity. We're going to touch on that today. Because see, a lot of us, we look at Adam and Eve's story like that was billions and billions of years ago, and that was the first of all mankind. It was not. And I just showed you in verse 22, that was Adam and Eve was not the first nation to fall. They were not the first nation to fall. See, this is how we expose the lies that were told to us as a people. So the Creator is removing all the barriers that Adam and Eve, well, pretty much Adam can hold on to that can help him. Because remember I told you, if a man is drowning, you let him drown. You don't get out there and just save him, because that man or woman might drown you. So let the water beat him up for a while. Or let the water drown him at the beginning, and then you drag him on, and then you push the water out their lungs. Because if you let a person who's trying to hold on to life grab hold to anything, they're going to drag you under. They're going to drag you under. So the Creator's taken all the barriers away from Adam that that can help Adam save his life. No. Life gonna have to beat Adam up now. Adam is gonna have to now get beat up by the things that he wanted to be involved in. And that's what happens with a lot of us. We have to get beat up by life and the things that we created or caused to come into our lives for a while until we learn the lesson. And then now you'll get dragged to the side and get life pumped back out you so as that you can literally live forever. Some of you just gonna die. I'm sorry to just say that, because some of you gonna fight, and so they can't come save you. So ain't nobody gonna take a chance to get out there in the middle of the water to save you, because you might drown them. So verse 23 says the first word is therefore. Therefore means to let go. Let them go, because the word the Lord means the fallout. Let them go because of the fallout. So the Creator, that's the word God, the Creator, sent him forth. Now check that out. The Creator sent him forth, meaning to dismiss him. The Creator dismissed him, set Adam, them free. They have no more obligations in the garden. Now, I want you to pay attention to this, because this is not talking about right then and there that, oh, he just put them out. Like you could take somebody and throw them out, like in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know, when Uncle Phil used to take Jazz and throw him out the door and shut the door. Ah! That ain't talking about this. This is a period of time. This happened over a period of time. It says, therefore, the Creator, because of the fallout, the Creator dismissed them, set him free, let him go. And notice the next word, it says what? From the garden. That word garden means the enclosure. And if you think about something, an enclosure is talking about a territory. It's talking about a piece of land or country. That's why I gave y'all the scripture on, I think it was last week. Let me go back up. Where in Second Esdras, Adam was a lord. You could go and see that in Second Esdras. Let me pull it back up. You can go to Second Esdras. Second Esdras, I need to pull that back up. Adam was a lord. That was Second Esdras. I think it was the 6th chapter, if I'm not mistaken. He was an actual lord. All right. Let me pull that verse up real quick. Adam was a lord. He was a lord. We're not talking about somebody that just was created and that's in the Apocrypha, 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, verse 54. That's 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, verse 54. Adam was a lord. He wasn't just anybody that the Creator, just created and say, okay, I'm gonna put him here. Adam had a position. This was a king, a lord. He was a governor. Okay, and now this person is being put out of his position. He was dismissed from the enclosure. And the next words is of Eden. Eden means the pleasure, luxury, or delight. That means that's where Adam were. All Adam luxury, his pleasure, or his delight was sitting right there in that enclosure, that territory, that country. Okay? So Adam was let go from the territory that he was set up to rule over, where his pleasures and his luxury and his desires were. Do you know we become comfortable in something that we've been in for so long? We become comfortable. We become in other words, it becomes like a part of us. And it's the same thing with Adam and Eve. they became comfortable in that position. Whereas that they didn't think that something was going to literally happen to them. Something was going to literally happen to them. Sometimes we think that because we are in something for so long and we become comfortable and others become comfortable with us, that we can get away. And sometimes you may get away with it for a period of time, but then sooner or later that thing is going to what? Catch back up with you. It's going to catch back up with you. So Adam was a lord. And he was being dismissed or set free or let go from his territory that he had pleasure, luxury, and delight in. He had it going on. And notice what the next two words is: to till. See that word, Adam was supposed to what? Serve, work, or labor there. That wasn't some place where Adam was just supposed to just sit there and just, like they show you in the pictures, oh, he just walking around naked and everything. Adam was a king. He was a governor. He was a lord. This man he was royalty. Him and the wife he chose, they were royalty. And you don't see royalty walking around naked. They have certain linen that they have upon their bodies. Adam was here to labor, serve, and to work in that particular area. And then some Bibles say that he was put in the east part of the garden. He wasn't put in the whole part of the garden. He was only put in the east. So that's where his labor, his work, or where he was supposed to serve at. He wasn't supposed to serve in the whole garden. That's when if he go all over the whole garden, that's when he's going to be taken over. And the Creator put him in the east part. And notice what it says: to work or to serve or to labor the ground. The word ground means country or land or territory. I just sat there and told you that's what it means. He was put in a particular territory. This ain't nothing new. Notice the next word says from. From means thither, meaning to or towards that place. He cannot go outside that area that he was put in. He cannot. There were strict rules that Adam and Eve, that nation of Adam, had to abide by. They couldn't just go all over the garden. Not just for the hell of it. No. They had to make sure that they were in their area. Because that's where his jurisdiction and that's where his rule is. From whence, the word whence means which, that also. And notice what it says. The next part says that the last word says he was taken. And that word he was taken means to marry or take a wife. That's where Adam met his wife at. When he was put in the east part of the garden, that's when he met his wife. Or he married his wife. So Adam was removed from the country where he was ruling and where his luxuries and desires and pleasures were. And the part and the moment and the area where he met his wife. He was removed from that. The Creator was contemplating. The Creator now is bringing it into flourishing. Now he's about to put action behind it. And this is verse 24. So he drove out. That word, so he drove out, that means to drive out, expel, or divorce, or put away. He divorced or he expelled the man. Notice there's a semicolon there. That means stop. Evaluate what's taking place. He's now putting in action. He contemplated what could happen. He realized what he needs to do. Now the creator is putting it into action. He's divorcing man, meaning, you know what a divorce means? To put away. You're on your own now. Notice what it says, the man. The man means which is mankind, meaning male and female. Now, this is talking about male and female. Because if you go back up to verse 23, where it says, therefore the Lord God sent him forth. What is it talking about? Adam? No, it's talking about, notice it says him. The first thing a person to say, oh, you know, that's the man. So the woman is still left in the garden? That's why I told y'all man means male and female. Unless he come and say the man. So he drove out the man. That's talking about specifically Adam and Eve, the nation that was in the east part of the garden. And it says, and he placed. The word placed means to what? To settle down, abide, or cause to dwell. So what did the creator abide, what did he settle down or cause to dwell? Notice what it says, and then the next word say at the east. What did he cause to dwell or settle down or abide? At the east. The word at the east means the period before the Middle Ages or the Great Age. The ancient past. I just sat there and told y'all that the word forever means antiquity. It means antiquity. So this was talking about the time before the Middle Age, the time before the Middle Age, or the Great Age. So we're talking about the antediluvian world. See, you can't go all the way back to day one of the Bible. You can't. Because there was nations before Adam. You saying, what you mean there were nations before Adam? Adam was created during those times. He was created before he became a king. But his area was just the area that failed. The other areas didn't fall. It didn't say that. The Bible never said that the south, north, and the west fell. It said the east fell. The east part of the garden fell. Not the south, west, or the north. Only the east fell. And the creator is settled down or caused to abide at the east, meaning the ancient past period before the Middle Age or the Great Age. What is the Middle Age? The medieval era, often called the Middle Age or the Dark Ages. So we're talking about the period before that. That's why I keep telling you. That's why I keep telling people, you're trying to go all the way back to when things were created. You only fooling yourself. Oh, the earth is round, the earth is flat. You haven't been up there to look at the earth. Oh, the earth has this much land on you. So you evaluated all the land from corner to corner, from top to bottom, from east to west, north, south, southwest, northwest. That's what you did? Or you just throwing out a number that sound good? Because they're telling you right here in verse 24 that this happened during before the Antediluvian age. Just to give you a definition of what they say the Middle Ages were, it began in 46 AD. I don't go by their time. I'm just reading what they put out. Following a great loss of power throughout Europe by the Roman Empire. So Europe lost power by the Romans. So that's the Middle Age. That's the Middle Ages, when Rome took down Europe. Now, I want you to pay attention to that. The Middle Ages span roughly 1,000 years, ending between 1400 and 1450. You're talking about when the Moors was ruling the seas. The Moors. The Iberians. That's the Middle Age. So we are talking about the age before that. This is what verse 24 is talking about. The age before that, just before that. The Antediluvian age. You're talking about when Europe was black. Adam was put out before that, before those times. What is the Dark Ages? The Dark Ages are when some scholars perceive Europe as having been plunged into darkness when the Roman Empire fell in around 500 AD. Like I told you, I get down with the 14 to the 1450, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. The Middle Ages are often said that said to be dark because of the supposed lack of scientific and cultural advancement. See, they didn't have none of that stuff over there. All that stuff that they was talking about, the scientific and cultural stuff, was right here in America. Now, I know some of y'all going to cut off right there. Oh, no, it's right over there. I'm going to prove the point. Federalism was the dominant political system. That's Feudalism. Feudalism. That was the dominant political system over there. That had nothing to do with over here. See, so Adam was put out of the garden he was put out the garden during the Antediluvian time. That's why Abraham Enoch and all of them were the patriarchs. What were the patriarchs? They were the ones that was before the flood. And they understood the things that caused the flood to come upon this earth. And a lot of Aboriginal people, they say, oh, no, we don't believe in it. Well, you debunk the flood, because a lot of the Aboriginal, a lot of the indigenous Indian tribes, like the Incas and all of, they put into their writings that there was a flood. That's one thing you can't get around. They put in their writings that there was a flood. So debunk the writings. Some people say, oh, no, see, they got hold to it and they wrote into it. Well, anything that you reading and that you evaluating, other people done got hold to it and wrote their own opinion about it. So now you tell me what is true. Some people say, well, what I think is true. Okay, so now what you think is true, I'm not going to debunk what you think. But now, if I believe what I believe is true, then there you go. There you go in verse 22. Man had become like one of us. He fell into the realm to be agreeable and disagreeable. He was wrapped around in dimensions. 2D, 3D, 5D, 6D. He was wrapped around in different dimensions. And he have to get through those doors to get back to the garden in order to rebuild back the garden. So it's that he can rest with the Creator in the Shabbat. But we knew man had fell. And the fall was during the antediluvian time. That was before the flood. During the flood. Let me show a video real quick. Let me do this right here real quick. I want to show this right here real quick, and then we're going to get into the video. Okay. I want to show the fair use sign. This is fair use, fair use, fair use. Okay. So now we're going to get into the video. All right, let's go.
Got
Let me,
that. Hey, it's Dana.
all right, here we go. Let's go.
Pichu, unquestionably. Machu Picchu, unquestionably one of the most
Testing, 1, 2.
recognizable ancient ruins on Earth. It is a place that is found high on countless astute explorers' bucket lists. Placed far away from modern civilization, or a 10-hour trek along the Inca Trail to reach.
Along the Inca trails. Who is the Incas? Who is the Incas? Huh? Who is the Incas? Incas are a South American, the Incas people. Who are they? That's in Peru. The Inca people were a pastoral tribe in the Cusco area around, they say, around 12th century BC, an indigenous Peruvian oral history tells us, tells us about these people. They are pre-Columbian America. Pre-Columbia America. All right? See, they say these people come from out of Peru. They're supposed to be indigenous there. All right? Now, let's keep going. Let's keep going. So we're talking about people here in America. Let's go.
However,
And these are the civilizations they came across. Well, let's go. Let's start back over. Let's go.
Machu Picchu, unquestionably one of the most recognizable ancient ruins on Earth. It is a place that is found high on countless astute explorers' bucket lists, and for good reason. Placed far away from modern civilization, requiring a 10-hour trek along the Inca Trail to reach.
So that means, guess what? That means this is not on this. You can't just get to this particular civilization on car. It has to be on foot. So now you knew what these people was working with. Let's go.
However, when one arrives at the site, they are rewarded with an astonishing array of ancient feats of engineering. There are many anomalous characteristics of this pre-Incan site, which, although ignored by academia,
Notice what he said. Academia, those are the scholars that we were talking about. They ignore this. Why? Because it's over here in America. See, this is talking about when they will try to ignore you for being an indigenous person here, they will put you in Africa, or they'll put you somewhere over there in our fake Israel. We're going to talk about that in a second as well. They will put you over there. But they will never tell you anything about America. And notice, let's read it again. Let's hear it again. What the scholars did?
With an astonishing array of ancient feats of engineering. There are many anomalous characteristics of this pre-Incan site, which, although ignored by academia,
he said ignored by academia, ignored by academia, ignored by academia. This is the reason why they could come and tell y'all that Adam and Eve happened when? Billions and billions and billions. See, that's the first time man was ever created. They are liars. Let's keep going. Let's go.
We intend to explore here on our channel. One of these peculiar and as yet unexplained features is the Temple of Three Windows. Located west of the main square, this sacred temple, formed with the use of gigantic megalithic blocks, is adorned with three still existing trapezoidal-shaped windows, aligned with the path of the sun, allowing its rays to pass through them at differing times of the day, brightly illuminated.
Notice what they're saying? Those three windows allow the sun to be trapped, to be able to let you to be shine at certain points of the day. So is those windows are some type of clock? Are those windows are some type of clock? Think about it. You're saying, well, what this got to do with anything? Just walk with me. Watch.
Illuminating the sacred plaza beyond.
Just watch.
It is one of the many inexplicable features of Machu Picchu, and indeed pre-Incan Peru, which laughs in the face of currently attested academic theory and its attempts to explain how such sites were initially.
Notice it says pre-Inca and Peru. That means before the Incas got there, that site was there. Let's hear it again.
It is one of the many inexplicable features of Machu Picchu, and indeed pre-Incan Peru.
Pre-Inca Peru. I'm showing you what they saying was there before the fall. We're going to get into this in a second because see, a lot of you've been following the doctrine and you wasn't really paying attention to what was taking place. Let's go.
which laughs in the face of currently attested academic theory.
So why does it laugh in the face of them? Because they don't understand it. They don't understand it. They don't know how it came about. They can perceive it. They can try to bring a conclusion to it, but they still are guessing at it. Let's go.
And its attempts to explain which sites were initially built.
See, they got to come up with a conclusion. And guess what? When they come up with a conclusion, they give you the conclusion. And guess what you do? You run with it. And you say, oh yeah, see that it was built that way. It was built this way. It was built. No, they built it. No, see, this how it was built. They guessing at it and giving you a guessing game. They're giving you a theory. They're giving you an hypothesis. They're not giving you truth. And a lot of things that you think man built, man didn't build it. Let's keep going. Let's rewind it and let's go back. Let's go.
Trapezoidal shaped windows, aligned with the path of the sun, allowing its rays to pass through them at differing times of the day, brightly illuminating the sacred plaza beyond. It is one of the many inexplicable features of Machu Picchu, and indeed pre-Incan Peru, which laughs in the face of currently attested academic theory and its attempts to explain how such sites were initially built. Most funded archaeologists claim Machu Picchu was constructed as an estate for an Incan emperor known as Pachacuti.
See, they're only guessing. They're only guessing. They're only guessing. They're only guessing. Let's keep going. Let's go.
Between 1438 to 1472. However, we disagree with this claim due to the exquisite nature of the site's construction, the clearly advanced levels of architecture, specifically but not exclusively pertaining to its complex irrigation, sanitation system.
Now look at that. They had. Let's see what they had again. Let's go back. Let's see what they had again.
We disagree with this claim due to the exquisite nature of the site's construction, the clearly
you're talking about a construction that took place. Let's go.
Advanced levels of architecture.
The advanced level of architecture. That means they had something that was going on that they cannot explain how this thing was built. Let's go.
Specifically, but not exclusively, pertaining to its...
So he's telling you specifically, but not exclusively, they just going to name a few. They're not going to name everything, but they're going to only name a few to keep the video running. Go.
Complex irrigation.
Irrigation, sanitation, irrigation, and sanitation. What else?
Sanitation and drainage systems.
And a drainage system. Hold on. I thought we just developed irrigation, sanitation, and the drainage system today. You mean to tell me that was way back then too? Huh? Let's go.
And indeed, the precision displayed with the use of such enormous multi-ton stones.
How did they move them stones? Tell me how they moved those stones. Multi-ton stones. How did they do it? How did they create those stones to be so exact in actually precision? How? So we dealing with dummies? We dealing with an uncivilized society that was way back then? We dealing with people who didn't know nothing about themselves? That's what we was dealing with? We dealing with ignorance? See, you have people trying to explain things back then, and they're giving you a theory, and we're running with these theories as if these theories are true. The story of Adam and Eve happened just before the antediluvian world. That was before the flood. And they say this right here is pre what? Inca. This before the Incas touched this, according to them. You say, well, you believe in their word. I'm only doing what is called criticism. Let's go.
These ancient megaliths were not only somehow carried to the tops of these mountaintop fortresses, but as the Temple of the Three Windows clearly displays, masterfully cut to form the windows.
He said he don't know. They carry these boulders to the top. Tons. These boulders that weigh tons. And they were masterfully cut. Precision. Think about that. I want you to literally think exactly what you're dealing with. Let's go.
Accomplishing such a refined finish to their surfaces that to claim they were chiseled out using primitive tools, we find not to be a viable or indeed logical conjecture.
That means, guess what they had? They had electricity, and they had things that were precise. I want you to think about what type of people these were and the things that they were literally working with. We say, oh yeah, they were primitive. Who told you they were primitive? Who? The same ones who told you that you came from Africa. See, Adam was a lord in the east part of his garden, in his country. He fell, and now he have to fight. And I'm only getting it up, getting it. I'm what you call it? I'm putting it up so as that you can understand where Adam fell at. And the type of people in entities Adam fell into and around. They were not no dummies where Adam went at. When he was pushed from out of his territory, his country, his land, he did not come up around dummies. These people had everything. They were advanced. So all this stuff that you see going on today is not nothing new. Let's go.
It is clear to us that whoever created this remarkable temple had at their disposal not only advanced, highly capable transport systems, but stone-cutting tools far out of the reach of the academically claimed constructors.
So they don't know how these people got what they got and how they made what they made. I'm just showing you who Adam is about to fight and why he have to fight. He's not coming up around people that you think that is just lazy and sitting back and doing nothing. Let's go.
Furthermore, present upon the stones of the Temple of Three Windows, also visible throughout ancient Peru, are enigmatic marks left by a tool that we, the public, are yet to be informed of.
So that means they have things that you don't know nothing about. Where did this stuff come from? How did they get this stuff there? Who was these people that was doing the antediluvian time? Let's go.
Intriguingly, these marks are not only visible upon stones within Peru, but are also in abundance the ancient in Aswan. We last covered the pink granite columns found within the ancient temples of Baalbek, transported from the same quarry to Baalbek, a distance of over 1,000 miles. These columns, we hypothesize, link the temple to the ancient pyramids, and these enigmatic stone-cut marks present at Machu Picchu, we assert, connect all three.
So they're telling you that the material that the ancient pyramids had actually was the same material that built these temples. It's not nothing new, family. And we're in America. They're showing you something. Where did this technology come from? Let's keep going.
We believe that as more detailed alternative research
And notice it said, we believe. That means they are still at it. They don't know. Let's go.
is undertaken upon these sites, the connections between them, or more specifically, the true creators of said sites, will become apparent as the same. Both
So they're saying they got true creators. Who's the creators? Who's the creators with this technology? Who are the creators with this and that? Who? Let's go.
religious and evolution theories, in their current forms, stifle this truth by their very nature.
So look what he said. The religious and the evolution with their theory stifle the truth about these things. So religion and your eugenics evolution theories need to be tossed out. It needs to be tossed out. Because you can't come and look at the actual artifacts and the things that were left behind can actually draw a conclusion to religion or your evolution eugenics theories. It don't work. Let's go.
Yet, thankfully, more and more curious individuals relinquish themselves of the rigid and conformist chains of ideologies of the truth. The reality of history will inevitably be unraveled. Who built the Temple of Three Windows? How did they construct such an astonishing site, built with such aligned precision, with such enormous stones? It is undoubtedly highly compelling.
So let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. Who built it? Who built it? Who built it? Who built it? See, we have to really ask these questions. Who built it? They're still trying to figure this out. We're going to pick back up on verse 24. Who built it? Let's go.
There are many areas of modern historical study, and the conclusions thereof, which not only are incorrect, but carefully planned, highly funded, and precisely executed convolutions of our true history.
Let's hear that again. Let's hear that again. Let's hear that again. Let's hear that again. Let's go.
With such aligned precision, with such enormous stones. It is undoubtedly highly compelling.
Here we go.
There are many areas of modern historical study, and the conclusions thereof, which not only are incorrect, but carefully planned, highly funded, and precisely executed convolutions of our true history.
So that means people put their own opinion on paper to begin to now do what? Teach you what they want you to know, how they want you to know it, when they want you to know it, where they want you to know it from, to, and how, and who they want to teach that. That's why when I listen to people, I all I say is these people, they only giving their opinion of what somebody else done taught them, of what they read coming from somebody else. Because the people who's these academians, they don't know what the hell they talking about. Let's go.
Theft of our true origins, and what lost civilizations were once capable of creating, systematically obliterating our heritage all around us.
So in other words, the truth about your heritage and etc. goes beyond what you can actually phantom. That's why on last Shabbat, the videos that I showed you is that what? You could say rock star without moving your mouth. You could say rock star in your mind. So where did the voice come from? KRS-One already told you it came from the seat of your soul. So that means the seat of your soul has nothing to do with time. Forward, back, side, up, down. That's time. It has nothing to do with sound. But see, we are so stuck in time and in the 3D realm that we ignore the 5D. That's why we'll never reach the true purpose and potential of ourselves. Adam was being removed from his 5D position. And he fell into a 3D realm in the body that he sees through the eyeballs of 2D. So now you have to ask yourself the question, family. These dark ages, what is it talking about? Let's go.
Something the channel witnesses on a daily basis. There are many possible reasons for the motivation of such callous actions, yet all are ultimately found to have nefarious intentions, greed, power, control, and paradigm.
So there you go. There you go your academia right there. He's pushing out what they are in it for. What? Greed, power, control, and paradigm. They are in it for themselves. That's why they teach you and tell you the wrong foolishness. They tell you lies before they teach you the truth. They are still trying to figure out, or now they probably done figured out how this stuff was built. Where did it come from? Who built it? How long these things were standing? They already probably found it out, but they ain't gonna never tell you. They gonna give you foolishness numbers. Oh, this was 10,000 BC. Oh, see, I could do this through some kind of, testing against this and testing against that. Let's go.
With funded academics complicit in this destruction, there is now very little MH has not covered, investigated, or encountered regarding antiquarian subject matter. As such, is now.
What the word antiquarian mean? I want that word. What is antiquarian? Let's look that word up. Antiquarian. What antiquarian mean? Antiquarian is relating to or dealing with antiques or rare books. We're going to talk about that book in a minute. See, when you're talking about the antiquarian, you're talking about rare books. A person who study or collect antiques, or antiquities, antiquities, whatever that is. See, an antiquarian or antiquary is the what? The student or the antiquities or things of the what? Past.
So that's just like a historian.
It's like a historian. So you have to
understand the things that took place in the fall of the garden was before the Dark Ages. It was before what? The Middle Ages. So that means we have to go back just before that, and you're talking about the antediluvian time. And they're trying to figure out dealing with the antediluvian time because they haven't figured everything out yet. That's why they give you what is called a theory or an hypothesis. Let's keep going.
Utterly convinced that the timeline of the history of humans is far larger, far greater, and far more spectacular than any religious, geological, archaeological, historical, or any other academically funded field or institute, who greatly profit from the propping up such continued misconceptions, will ever willingly admit.
So in other words, see, look what he just admit. Look what he just admit. Your existence is greater than they can ever find on this earth. But a lot of times we will connect ourselves to the earth. But he just sat there and told you that your existence is greater. I want you to think about this. Your existence is greater than what you actually ever would actually trace on this earth or any archaeologist dig up. But we would sit there and tangle ourselves with what they find. We would sit there and entangle ourselves into the papers they write. As if they could go back to the beginning of you. See, this is how foolish many of us have become. We done become 3D beings instead of recognizing the fall of 5D. So we extrapolate everything through the 2D realm, which is the eyeballs. And then we say, oh, I'm smarter than you. How? How you smarter than me? Oh, because I know where everything came from. Well, where did it come from? Well, it started in Africa or it started in America. Did it? Did it? Did it? How? Prove it. Prove it. Prove that everything started in America or Africa. Prove it. Oh well, they found the oldest bones. See, there you go. Let's hear what this brother just said just a minute ago. See, because I don't think we understand the essence of us. We get caught in academia, we get caught in this and get caught in that, but we don't get caught within self. Let's go.
Investigated or encountered regarding antiquarian subject matter. As such, is now utterly convinced the timeline for the history of humans is far larger, far greater, and far more spectacular than any religious, geological, archaeological, historical, or any other academically funded field or institute, who greatly profit from the propping up such continued misconceptions, will ever willingly admit.
Notice he said they profit from this thing. That's a money grabber. It's a money grabber. It's a money grabber. They grabbing your money. They going in your pockets. Get your hand out my pockets, man. But they in your pockets by telling you how you began and where you evolved from. They in your pockets. They inside of your pockets. Let's keep going. Let's ride.
It is up to all of us to remain thorns in the sides of institutional.
So there you go. He said you got to remain a thorn inside of these institutional pockets, liars, because they're here to profit from you. They're here to profit from you. They're here to not give you the truth. And if they do give you the truth, they're going to give you a little crumb of it. And the rest of it that builds around that crumb is a lie. Let's keep going.
The truth is out there, but one must be relentless in their pursuit of it. To those who fund the travesty, who publish the fallacy, is all a big game, a power play to preserve an already well-established deception.
There you go. So they are out here to establish a deception against you. See, the reason why he's showing you that is because it's fake. That Egyptian statue is fake. It was man-built. It's fake. They showing you this thing. This is called the advanced ruins left by a pre-flood civilization. Notice it says a pre-flood civilization. See, a lot of stuff they showing you today is fake. It's fake, family. They are here to keep you in confusion. Let's go.
Yet, as mentioned, these moves are not only related to our modern era. In reality, they have always been a consequence of greedy, psychopathic, power-hungry individuals throughout the ages. Incredible, still unexplained sites re-inhabited by our more recent ancestors, who strategically began to claim them as their work.
See, so he's telling you your ancestors, your ancestors claim their works. We're going to get Bible into this too. We're going to get Bible, and I'm going to show y'all. These folks, you got people who moved into these areas and claimed the works that were already there. They claimed those works. All right, let's go.
With modern academics using a similar strategy for their own beneficial motives. The past invaders, motivated by the illusionary sense of power and intimidation, which would have struck fear or respect for their seemingly magical capabilities into the hearts of any surrounding group. This power play strategy, also used by modern academia, using the vast array of said individuals' artifacts, excavated at each site to support their posit for structural origin. This, always regardless of the complete absence of any claimed culture leaving any diagrams, messages, or anything, not one shred of evidence showing these claimed culprits knew how to construct them. A vast portion of the general public simply go away, presuming those running the studies know all about who built these sites and how.
See, so in other words, what it's saying is, these people who talking all this, they don't even know how to build this stuff. They don't know how to build this stuff. They don't know. They can sit there and say, okay, it was built by this, but you don't know how to construct it to last the way it's lasting today. You can give us your hypothesis and your opinion, but you can't give us the actual study in how they built it. And like I said, people came in and took over what was already there and claim it as their own. Let's go. We got like 3 more minutes of it. Let's go.
Thus, those unfamiliar with the anomalies we cover can easily make a forgivable oversight, as these charlatans openly declare they do indeed know who built them.
So I want to say this too. I want to go back. He said but they'll claim how these things were built, but they can't tell you who built them and when it was built, or who actually built them. They'll tell you, oh, these people. They give you their things because it's a money grabber. It's a money scheme. It's a thing to keep you in the dark about what's really taking place. That's the reason why a lot of people don't get into the actual fall of Adam, because it's going to actually tell you that's during the time of the Antediluvian age. Let's go.
Resulting in a mass misplaced faith from individuals unaware of the concealed features and the hidden agenda by the institutes who bribe others through the academic funding structure.
So you're talking about bribing people. You're talking about people who's funding these people to lie to you. You're talking about people who's funding these people to mislead you and misguide you. And we take what they say is the truth. all because they are popular, all because they got money behind them, all because they call themselves and got these names, doctor or master professor and all these. That's foolishness. That's foolishness. See, they don't tell you how great you are as a person inside, but they got you looking outside. Let's go.
Manipulating those with limited information of such sites, academics put tremendous effort into being perceived as intellectually superior to us all.
Because you don't have knowledge, or you don't have the access to get a lot of stuff that you hear a lot of people getting. Then they say, oh, the stuff is out there. Well, how do I get it? See, a lot of that stuff people are putting out on social media, they are getting it from somebody. Well, how do you know to go there? Because you inside the club. Let's go.
This is solely for the purpose of financial gain, as if they are perceived as being more knowledgeable. By default, they possess a greater influence.
I bet you half of those folks who put this information out, I bet you half of them ain't even struggling. Want to bet some money? Let's bet some money. Let's put some money on the table. Let's go.
As such, can uphold misconceptions and conceal the controversial and the contradictory. Unexplainable sites claimed as the work of civilizations that were simply incapable of Neolithic and rare but crucial polygonal floors. We have also recognized signature blockwork found in many different countries, with many ancient stone builds ingeniously put together, weight-bearing architecture such as the lintel in the treasury of Atreus, that due to its accurate and complex design is simply preposterous to attempt to claim as the work of a group of ancestors which we know predates our own modern understandings of such techniques. Yet regardless, academic explanations insult our intelligence by still claiming such ridiculous explanations. It seems that due to the fact that academia not only wants to continue to appear accurate and all-knowing in their explanations as to who built said structures, but also due to the clearly funded structure and the orchestrated efforts to conceal our past, is also to possible realizations that could arise within one's ponderings from the exposure of the complete picture of inexplicable, technologically advanced ruin. Not only are many of these sites ignored, but many have experienced levels of, as mentioned. Many of the most impressive ancient sites have had many of their most impressive engineering legacies stolen. Lots were adapted and claimed as another's creation. The Roman road, Roman columns, blinds, etc. The Great Pyramids, claimed as the work of copper-wielding ancient Egyptians. Each of these supposed accomplishments by these supposed constructors are all absent any explanation as to how they constructed such wonders, and those techniques found to have been used by these groups, the channel suspects were replicated. For if they were engineered by these groups, how did they consistently make such tremendous leaps in such tiny time frames? It seems highly illogical and convenient that these occurrences of rapid technological development have all been found to have occurred within or near these still unexplained ruins.
So we're going to leave it right there. You can watch the rest of the video on your own. This is a very good video. See, they saying that, oh, how did the Egyptians do all this? They ain't doing it today. How did the so-called Americans did it? They ain't doing it today. Even when you get land, you still ain't replicating anything that was done on the land back then. You still ain't replicating it. Because now the question now becomes, don't tell me, oh, well, they educated me out of that. No, don't come with that. I don't want to hear that. Because watch this. If I was taught, if my people had learn how to fix a pie. Learn how to fix a pie. Guess what happened? If that recipe, even if that recipe was not pushed back down to the, it's something going to be inside of me to be able to replicate what my ancestors done. Especially cooking, dressing. We're going to replicate that thing. Ain't nothing going to stop me from replicating what my ancestors have done. I'm not saying that we wasn't inventors. We weren't the only inventors on the earth. But to build these magnificent structures, how did they do it? Please show me how they do it. Please give me detail for detail. They were put in your place to lie to you because they are covering up the antediluvian world. That's why in the Genesis, it tells you the time before the middle age, before the dark age. Because you're talking about the antediluvian world. Let's go to let's go to Deuteronomy, the 9th chapter. Let me show you that there were nations that took over cities. I'm talking about the Israelites. We took over the Canaanites, the things that the Canaanites have already built. Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 9th chapter. Just to prove what the brother has said in the video. Things that was already built, nations came in and claimed it for their own. Nations came in and claimed it for their own.
What verse to start?
Start at verse 1.
It says, "Hear, Israel, you are now about to cross the Jordan to go in and dispose the nations greater and stronger than you, with large cities that have walls up to the sky. The people are strong and tall, Anakites. You know about them, and have heard it said, who can stand up against the Anakites? But be assured today that the Creator is the one who goes across ahead of you like a devouring fire. He will destroy them. He will subdue them before you, and you will drive them out and annihilate them quickly."
Now let's real quick. Let's go back and let's look at the Anakites. Who are the Anakites? Who are the Anakites? Anakims. Who are they? Anakims, they'll tell you, oh, that was the people of Canaan, Ham. Well, okay, but watch this. Anakim are mentioned in the Bible as a race of what? Giants. Because notice this. Notice what it said. Go back and read. Let me adjust my thing. No, I don't want this. Go back and read where it says that they are, okay, here we go. It says, understand, verse 3. No, verse 2. What verse 2 says? A people great and what? Tall. You see that? A people great and tall. a children of Anakim, whose thou knoweth, and of whom thou hast heard say, who can stand before the children of Anak? Who is them? Those are people that they're giants. They're giants. Go ahead. Start back at verse 3, sis.
Do you mind? I have to take care of a
Okay, that's fine. It says, and I'm going to finish reading the definition, and it says, according to the Old Testament, the Anakim lived in the southern part of the land of Canaan near Hebron. Okay, near Hebron. You can see that in Genesis 23:2 and Joshua 15:13. And then now let's pick up at verse 3 of Deuteronomy 9:3. It says, understand therefore this day that the creator thy power is he which goeth before thee. And it says, and a consuming fire he shall destroy them, and he shall bring them out before thy face. So shall thy drive them out and destroy them quickly, as the Creator has said unto thee. Now watch this, verse 4. Speak not thou in thy mind after that the Creator thy power has cast them out from before thee, saying, for my righteousness the Creator has brought me in to possess this land. But for the wickedness of these nations, the Creator do drive them out from before thee. Let's keep going. Verse 5. Not for thy righteousness, or for the what? Uprighteous of thy mind, doeth thy go to possess their land. But for the wickedness of these nations, the Creator, your power, do drive them out from before you, and he that may perform the word which the Creator sware unto thy fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, we got to pay attention to this because he's promising something going back before Abraham. Okay? This is a promise before Abraham, and we're going to get into this in a second. And it says, understand, therefore, that the Creator, your power, giveth thee not this good land to possess it for thy righteousness, for thou art a stiff-necked people. In other words, this ain't got nothing to do with you, fam. This ain't got nothing to do with the nation of Israel that you get in the land of Canaan. This promise goes back before Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Where did this promise come from? Where did this come from? Because the Creator said, if it wasn't for that promise, you wouldn't even get this land. See, we read this thing unintelligent. It was a promise that was made. Let's keep going. He said, verse 9, verse 7. Remember and forget not how thou provoketh the Creator your power, and to wrath in the wilderness from the day that thou didst depart out of the land of Egypt until you came until this place. Ye have been rebellious against the Creator. So there was no rest in a stiff-neckedness. Not the nation of Israel. Israel didn't rest. They didn't rest. Being wicked and rebellious. Verse 8 says, also in Hebron. Hold on. Hebron. Did we not just mention Hebron? Yes, that's where Anakim was. Hebron. The race of giants were in Hebron. You provoked the Creator to wrath, so that the Creator was angry with you to have destroyed you. Verse 9, when I go into the mount to receive the tablets of stone, even the tables of the covenant which the Creator made for you. So stop. It wasn't just the 10 commandments that was created, that was given to Moses. It was also the covenants. Then I abode in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. I neither did eat bread nor drink water. And the Creator delivered what? Delivered unto me 2 tables of stones written with the finger of the Creator. And on them was written according to
all the words which the Creator spake with you in the mouth out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. Verse 11, and it came to pass at the end of the 40 days and 40 nights that the Creator gave me the 2 tables of stones, even the tables of the covenant. Why do we miss the tables of the covenant? Why do we miss the tables of the covenant that Moses brought down as well? We only talk about the 2 tablets of the commandments, but why don't we talk about the covenants that was written on stones as well? Let's keep going. Verse 12, and the Creator said unto me, arise, get thee down quickly from hence, for thy people which thou, I'm trying to figure out where he said you're going to go and possess the land. Let me read it down. Sin against thee, thou is afraid of the please. You will go in and inhabit the cities. You will inhabit the cities of the Canaanites. Hold on, give me a second. Hold on, give me a second. Give me 1 second. Okay, let's go to Joshua 24:13. Let's go to Joshua 24:13. I think that one would be a much better one. Let's go to Joshua 24:13. Let's start at verse 10. Huh?
Start at 10. Oh, okay. Verse 10. But I would not listen to Balaam, so he blessed you again and again, and I delivered you out of his hand. Then you crossed the Jordan and came to Jericho. The citizens of Jericho fought against you, as did also the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Canaanites, the Hittites, Gershites, Hivites, and Jebusites.
So look at all these nations fighting against the nation of Israel. Look at that now. Watch this. Keep going.
But I gave them into your hands. I sent the hornet ahead of you, which drove them out before you. Also, the 2 Amorite kings. You did not do it with your own sword and bow. So I gave you a land bow. Bow. So I gave.
They had bows. They had bows and arrows. So now you know we're talking about Aboriginal Indians. Okay, with swords, nor with thy bow. That's an arrow. Keep going. Verse 13.
So I gave you a land on which you did not toil, and cities you did not build, and you live in them and eat from the vineyards and olive groves that you did not plant.
See, so I just showed y'all in the video, they literally sat there and said that other nations inhabited lands that were, when they came in and took the land, that they took over the cities and the architects and the artifacts that were there, and they claimed it for themselves. So you see right here in the Bible, it's saying, the Creator saying, look, I'm giving you cities and things that you didn't need what? Toil for. You did not, cities you did not build. And vineyards and olive yards, which you planted not. And you're going to eat from this. You're going to what? Eat from it. Think about that. I want you to think about that. You're going to now eat from things you didn't have nothing to do with. So I want you to put that in your mind. You didn't have nothing to do with it, but you're going to inhabit it and you're going to have a reward from it. So Israel did not build the land of Canaan. It was already built up. It was already built up. Now, when we do go get the cities that was already built up, go ahead, read verse 14. What verse 14 says. This what Israel did not do. Go ahead.
Now fear the Creator and serve him with all faithfulness. Throw away the powers your ancestors worshiped beyond the Euphrates River and in Egypt, and serve the Creator. But if serving the Creator seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the powers your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates or the powers of the Amorites in whose land you are living. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Creator.
So in other words, Joshua is telling them, look, you're going to either serve the Creator or you're going to serve the Amorites' God. And he says, now therefore the Creator serve him in sincerity and in truth. And put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood, meaning the ocean, the river, the water. That golden calf foolishness, put that crap away. And in Egypt. Hold on, stop. You mean to tell me Israel was serving other gods in Egypt? Yes, they were.
So when he was telling them that they need to choose, so it's not like the Creator forced them to do anything. They had a choice on whether they were going to serve him or not, but then they had to suffer the consequences of that decision, right?
Correct.
Does that mean that does that mean that that's giving us free will or not necessarily?
You could call it free will if you want to.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, at the end of the day, you're going to have a consequence to pay for free will.
Right.
Just like there's a reward for your choice, rather if it's good or bad, because what scripture justify that? I'm going to give you a hint. You shall eat the fruit thereof. See, the scripture tells you. You speak life and death from the power of your tongue. And you're going to eat the fruit of it thereof. You have to realize what is causing you to live. See, the Creator, I just went over in chapter 3 of Genesis of verse 23. The Creator was now removing from 22 and 23. He's removing everything that causing Adam to hold on to dear life. Because I gave the analogy that if a man is dying, he's drowning, you let him drown or you let the water beat him up for a while. And when you let him beat him up for a while, then what happens? That water weigh him out. He's tired. He'll be easy to drag in, or you let the water drown him just for a second or two. He'll be floating. Now you can bring him in without you harming yourself. But if you get out there when he's trying to survive and holding on to dear life, then he's going to drag you under as well. So the Creator was removing everything that Adam could have touched or contaminate. And this is what Joshua is telling them.
In verse 14, he said, now therefore fear the Creator and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the water and in Egypt, and serve ye the Creator.
So he's pretty much telling them they need to break that generational curse.
Bingo. You got to realize what your ancestors did. What got them put to death. You got to understand what put them in this position. You got things that you didn't even labor for. But you can't go in there with that same mind when you went into Egypt, when you got the land of Goshen. When the famine hit and your brother was in charge, Jacob. Not Jacob, what his name? What brother was in charge? My mind just slipped.
Joseph?
Joseph, not Jacob, Joseph. And you thought you had it good, but then when Joseph died, that's when you realized that you was in a messed up position because you walked away from something that belongs to you. See, a lot of times we get into places and become complacent. And then when we become complacent, we end up finding ourselves into positions that really does not fit us. So now we are in a position where people can literally lie to you now. Because you holding on to things that really is out of your realm. Verse 15 says, and if it seems evil unto you to serve the Creator, choose you this day whom you will serve. In other words, if it's a burden for you to serve the Creator, then you need to choose who you're going to serve. You don't need to be playing in between hopscotch. You need to be serious at what you're going to serve and who you're going to serve. Joshua's not telling them this is what you going to do. See, we get to the point where we try to tell people, make people, force people, and if you don't believe what I believe, then we can't talk. This ain't what Joshua's saying. See, when you see people get into their feelings about what they believe, it's because they don't really believe what they believe. Because if you really believe what you believe, I don't have to force you into truth. I just simply have to tell you. That's up to you what you choose. Joshua say, choose you this day whom you will serve. Rather the God of your what? Fathers serve that. Were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. So stop. You mean to tell me Joshua giving them a choice to go and serve a false god? He said, but as for me and my house, we will what? Serve the Creator, because it goes by the house and the people in that house. Joshua says it's up to you. And look what the people said in 16. And the people answered and said, the Creator forbid that we should forsake the Creator to serve other gods. But Joshua didn't ask that. I understand your answer, but it's still your choice. But, all right, go ahead.
Well, if they knew that, then why were any of them serving idol gods? If they knew what the Creator, required of them.
Because they were wicked. Remember what we just read in Deuteronomy 9. The Creator said, I'm not giving you this land simply because of this and that. I'm giving you this land because of because of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He said, you are stiff-necked people. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 9th chapter. Let's go back to that, and then I'm going to get into the next video. Let's go back to Deuteronomy, the 9th chapter. I'm not giving you this land simply because you Israel. And I know a lot of people, they don't want to hear that. Oh, no, that land belongs. No, 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 no. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do this. You're not getting the land simply because you Israel. See, this is where a lot of the Israelites, they're gonna get off the boat. Or he's preaching a false doctrine. Really? Am I? Am I? Let's go to Deuteronomy 9. Let me grab it. Let me get up in here real quick. It's kind of going slower for a second. All right. Let's go to verse. Hold on, let me scroll down. Let's go to verse let's start at verse 4. He says, "Speak not thou in your mind, after the Creator, your power, has cast them out from before you, saying, my righteousness, the Creator, has brought me in to possess this land. But for wickedness of these nations, the Creator do drive them out from before you." Watch this, verse 5. And it says, "For not for my righteousness or for the uprightness of your mind do thou go to possess their land. But for the wickedness of these nations, the Creator, your power, do drive them out from before thee, and that he may perform the word which the Creator swore unto your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." So you mean to tell me the Creator swore that to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but you have to read between the lines. Who taught Abraham? Shem and Noah. So that's where the pact came from. That's what he was upholding. I'm going to prove that in a second. Let's go to verse 6. It says, "Understand, therefore, that the Creator, your power, given thee not this good land to possess it for your righteousness, for thou art a what? Stiff-necked people." What that mean? He giving you that because you Israel?
No, because of a promise he made with their forefathers.
So what that mean? What that mean for Israel? What that mean for Israel, huh?
That was just grace. I mean, because if it wasn't for that, they would have been destroyed right then and there.
He was only fulfilling the promise that he made before Abraham. That's why I told y'all, you didn't read the part where he brought down, watch this. He said, I'm doing that for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Watch this. Look what verse 6 says. "Understand, therefore, that the Creator has given this verse 7. "Remember and forget not how thou provoketh the Creator, your power, to wrath in the wilderness from the day that thou didst depart out of the land of Egypt until you came into this place. Ye have been" what? "Rebellious to the Creator." Look at that. The Creator's sick of Israel. The only reason why Israel came from out of Egypt is because of the promise he made to the forefathers. It ain't got nothing to do with you being Israel. He's sick of Israel. But Israel is only being shown mercy because of the promise. Watch this. I'm going to show it to you. Also in Hebron, you provoked the Creator to wrath, so that the Creator was angry with you to have destroyed you. See, he was angry with you to destroy you. Look what verse 9 says. Let's look at verse 9. When I was going up into the mountain to receive the table of stones, even the tables of the covenant. Stop. What was the tables of the covenant? That was the promise. That was the promise that the Creator made with Israel, not with Israel, but with the forefathers. Let's get into the promise. Let's go to the book of Jubilees, the 8th chapter. Let's get into the promise. Let's go to the book of Jubilees, the 8th chapter. We're going to start at verse 1. That's why when you realize that you're an Israelite, and we're going to talk about this being an Israelite in a second. Just give me a minute. That's why when you realize that you are an Israelite, you are part of the bloodline. That's not something that I should be going around sitting this and this and this. No. That's grace, family. You should be on your face. You should be thanking the Creator for him keeping the promise to your forefathers. You should be thanking the Creator for keeping the promise to your forefathers. But we don't believe that. We don't believe that. Because we think that we have it made. No, you don't, family. No, you don't. I'm just showing you, just like the book of Adam, just like in Adam and Eve. Adam thought he had it made. And when Adam realized he didn't have it made, Adam fell. He realized that everything was slipping from out of his hands. And there's nothing that he could do, and the Creator removed everything from him that he could not hold on to. And when he removed everything from him, he had to drown. Adam got to drown or let life beat him up. So is that when salvation do come to him, there's not going to be a fight. He's going to be happy. He's going to open up his eyes and say, oh, thank you for saving me. Because he realized how much life beat him up. I'm trying to find let me go on this. Let me go over here because this right here giving me too much. Jubilees, the 8th chapter. Here we go. Jubilees, the 8th chapter. Let's get into a little bit of this real quick. And then we're going to watch the last video, and then we're going to close out chapter 3. And then on the next Shabbat in the Creator's will, we're going to get into chapter 4. And we're going to talk about that mark. All right. Let's get into a little bit of chapter 3. Let's finish up so we can finish up verse 24 of chapter 3. This is the book of Jubilees, the 8th chapter. Watch this. Let's see where the covenant come from. In the 20th year, in the 29th Jubilee, in the first week, in the beginning thereof, this is the book of Jubilees, the 8th chapter. You can pull this up on your phone. Some people say, well, I don't believe in the book of Jubilee. Well, let's read. Arcadus, whatever his name is, took to himself a wife, and her name was Resuijah, the daughter of Susan, the daughter of Elam. We know who Elam is. And she bore him a son in the 3rd year in this week. and he called his name Kainum, or Canaan. Some of you call him Canaan. And the son grew, and his father taught him writing. See, taught him writing. And he went to seek for himself a place where he might seize for him a city. And we just sat there and said, and the brother just sat there and said in the video that a lot of places where a lot of people, a lot of things that people find, they when they go in and seize it or claim it, they claim it for themselves, things that were already there. And we just read that in Joshua, that Israel inhabits cities that was not even there, on vineyards that they didn't even have to plant. And that's what was happening right here in the book of Jubilees. He's seizing a city that he can now call for himself. Verse 3, and he found and he found a writing. Stop. Let's go back. His father taught him a writing, and now he finds a writing which former generations have carved on the rock. Stop. And we just sat there and said that generation Moses had carved on the rock. Joshua even carved things on the rock. They found Decalogue stones, carved things, Moabite stones, Canaanite stones, things. They found artifacts with things carved on a rock. I just sat there and showed you a video of them finding cities and carvings of different of that engineering inside of a rock. These people were not no Flintstones. These people were advancing technology. This man found a writing that were carved on what? The rock. And he read what was their own, and he transcribed it. What transcribe means? What do transcribe means? What do transcribe means? Transcribe.
Pretty much he just
transcribed it.
He put it in writing.
You say he did what?
He put it in writing.
I can barely hear you.
Oh, he put it in writing, like dictated. Like when somebody dictates something, they're telling it's like they're telling a story, but he's transcribing it, putting it in writing so it could be seen physically.
Okay, now is transcribing, when you transcribe something, are you transcribing it literal, or you adding to it, or you opinionating it?
Well, you're supposed to, when you transcribe it, it's supposed to be verbatim.
Okay.
It's
supposed to be. So his father taught him writings. He finds a writing. Okay. He finds a writing. And transcribe means to put thought, speech, or data into writing or printed form. So what is he doing? He's putting it into printed form. Now watch this. He's putting it into printed form of some things that he saw in previous generations. Okay, carved on a rock, and he read what was their own, and he transcribed it, meaning he put it in the form of a book. And sinned owing to it. That word sinned, so that's talking about breaking the law? No, this ain't talking about breaking the law. Sin means to bring shame. Shame or offend. And shame owing to it. What is that shame? Because when the book, the thing that he found, he understood it. And it was taught to him, because remember, we just read his father taught him writing. So the thing that he found from previous generations, he understood what it was saying. And it brought shame because why? He understood the thing that created the disaster. He understood what was going on and what went on during the antediluvian world. For it contained the teaching of the watchers, in accordance with which they used to observe the omens of the sun and the moon and the stars and all the signs of heaven. I just sat there and told y'all about that moon thing. I just sat there and told y'all about that, how you observe this and observe that. Certain things come from it comes from certain points. He understood what was taking place. And he wrote it down and said nothing regarding it, meaning he kept this thing a secret. He knew that the writings that he found was connected to the fallen realm. He knew this, and he held it and he kept it a secret. That's why you have these secret societies. He spoke nothing regarding it. Now watch this. For he was afraid to speak to who? Noah. Why? Why was he afraid to speak to Noah about it, lest he should be angry with him on the account of it? Because Noah taught them what took place and why it took place. That book, that writing, supposed to have stayed lost. The world that Adam and Eve was in was supposed to have stayed lost. I'm gonna prove my point in a minute. Watch. I'm gonna go back to chapter 3 and verse 24, the last verse. And I'm gonna show you why it was supposed to have stayed lost. Because this dealing with the watchers. In fact, let's go to chapter 3. Let's go back to finish up chapter 3 before I get there. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 3. Let's go back there. Because the creator is now removing Adam. That world was supposed to have stayed lost. Why? Let me prove my point. Let's go to verse 24. Now we already said that he placed it at the east, meaning before the Middle Age or the Dark Ages. What did he place there? What did he place? He placed it what? Of the garden. That's the enclosure. That's the enclosure of Eden. Eden is the what? The luxuries, the delight and the pleasure that Adam had. So what did he place at the enclosure? Cherubims. Now right there, y'all say, oh, those are angels. No, I looked at that thing real hard and I was like, well, angels, because that word angel means probably. Cherubims. That word has a word probably in it. So I looked at it. And I continue to break down the rest of it that I could have break down. But then I kind of went back. And then when I did go before that, I broke it down and I went back to it. And I said, oh, that's what it is. Yes, cherubims is probably an angelic being or a judge. An angelic being, what do an angelic being do? Bring a message from the creator. So the creator put a message at the door of the enclosure or on that land or in that country. He put a message that the creator put towards that land. What was the message? It was an ensign, a distinguishable mark. He put a distinguishable mark or an ensign. And that word a flaming mean a what? An enchantment. Now, some people say, oh, an enchantment, or the creator don't mess with enchantments. Enchantments means to attract or catch someone's attention in a less mystical way. So what the creator is doing, he's about to catch his attention to let Adam and Eve know, or that nation of Adam know, that he mean business. He really mean what he say when he about to put you out and let you drown. He's about to send a sign. That goes back to, we could go to Proverbs the 20th chapter. I think that's Proverbs 20 and started, is that? No, Proverbs, what that where it says he stretches hands out and none regard. What scripture is that, sis? That's Proverbs what?
Let me look it up.
He says he stretches his hands out. And he says, how long? He says, wisdom cries out in the square. How long you simple ones will love simplicity? See, I'm about to show you, he sends out a mark. He sends an insight. He sends out an enchantment, something that gets your attention. How long you simple ones will love your simplicity? When I stretch my hand out, none regardeth me.
Proverbs 1 and 22.
Okay, let's go there. Let's go there real quick. Watch this. Watch when you hear. He's going to the scripture's going to prove. He's going to send you a sign for you. Go ahead. What you got?
It says, "How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge."
Keep going. Keep going.
And fools hate knowledge. It says,
I'll grab it. Let me grab it.
my computer's going slow.
Let me grab it. Proverbs 1 and 20. This is what it says here. It says, how long? It says, wisdom crieth without. She uttereth her voice in the streets. Verse 21. She crieth in the chief places of concourse, in the opening of the gates, in the city. She uttereth her words, saying. Now, this is wisdom. Wisdom is the voice of the Creator. This is the law. All right. How long you simple ones will love your simplicity, and the scorners delight in your scornery, and fools hate knowledge. See, how long you gonna keep trying to be knowledgeable? Just like the video I showed y'all just a few minutes ago, it says that these people put out all this stuff to because of money. They want to sit there and keep lying because it's profitable and it puts them in power. Because you'll think that they know it all, or they got the knowledge or the upper hand on you simply because they think they put out a hypothesis or a theory to you. Verse 23, turn ye at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my what? Spirit onto you. See, the Creator is giving you mercy. I will make known my words unto you. That's mercy. Watch this. Because I have called, you have refused. I have stretched out my hand, and no man regardeth. Verse 25. But you have set at naught all my counsel, and will none of my reproof. You don't want to hear nothing you don't want to hear no truth, because you think you got it. You think you done gain it all, or whatever. Watch this, verse 26. I also will laugh at what? Your calamities. I will mock you when fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, then you shall call upon me. I will not answer. Why? It's because he already was sending out a lifeline. So the ensign, the ensign that was given to you is what? What is that ensign? The ensign is when he put out towards you that destruction is coming. So the Creator is giving Adam, he's putting that nation of Adam, or Adam and Eve, he's giving them an ensign. He's allowing a distinguishable mark. And what is that distinguishable mark? He's enchanting. That enchantment means to attract or catch someone's attention in less mystical ways. He's about to catch the attention of Adam. How? He's sending them an enchant or sword. An enchantment, a flaming sword. What is that sword? Drought. He's allowing the land to dry up. Drought. Let's grab a couple of scriptures. I'm going to show you that enchantment. Let's grab a couple of scriptures. Jeremiah. Well, hold on. He's sending a drought back to Adam. Because when that drought comes, see, Adam can't come back. That's where his luxuries, his pleasures, and his desires is in that country. But all that stuff is drying up. So guess what happens when things dry up? You can see a migration. That's the fall. They're moving from the position that they were in to a lesser position. Let's prove a point. Let's go to Jeremiah 23:20. Oh, darn it. Jeremiah 23:29. Let's look at that fire. Some people say, oh, that fire, that's real fire. Well, let's look at the fire. Let's look at the fire. Jeremiah 23:29. I'm going to show you that's his word. His word is fire. He said, "Is not my word like as a fire?" So that flaming sword, that flaming is his word. Says the Creator, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces. He's talking about his word. He enchanted his words onto the land. Jeremiah 5:14. Jeremiah 5:14. Wherefore, thus says the Creator of hosts, because you speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire. So you mean to tell me the Creator's word is fire? It's like fire? Jeremiah 20:9. Let's grab it. Jeremiah 20:9. And if I say I will not make mention of him, nor speak anymore in his name, then there is in my mind as it were a burning fire shut up in my bones. And I am weary with forbearing, I cannot contain. So you mean to tell me his word, just thinking of his word, is like fire? Let's grab one more. Hosea 6:5. Hosea 6:5. It says, therefore, I have hewed them by the prophets. I have slain them by the words of my mouth, and my judgments are as the light that goes forth. So I'm showing you, family, that the Creator's word is fire. It's like fire. So when he placed right there cherubims, he placed a message that enchanted a drought. That's what made Adam leave. It wasn't that Adam just left. Adam left because there was a drought that hit the land. there was a drought that hit the land. And it says, which turned everywhere, means it transformed. It transformed the land. It changed the land. And to keep means to guard or protect. That drought is there to what? Protect the land, to retain the land, to guard the land. Because as long as a drought there, guess what? Nothing is going to come there. Not even Adam and Eve. Because now they're going to have to, they got to live now. The luxuries for them is gone. It says to keep the way, meaning the road, the journey, the life, the course of life. It was there to keep the life of the tree, meaning the framework that the Creator put there. That's driving, it drove them out. It's there to keep the framework that He set up from the beginning of that garden. It was not there to He didn't put that there just to put it there. So this brother inside of the book of Jubilees, he found this writings. He found this writings. Where's Joel? He found the writings. And he was afraid of taking this to Noah. And the reason why, because why? This was dealing with the former generations of the Antediluvian world. Because he understood that this was dealing with the watchers. This was dealing with spells and all the things that have went wrong on the earth before that. And verse 4 said, and he wrote it down and said nothing regarded, for he was afraid. Notice what it says, he wrote it down. So obviously he knew what he was getting into. For he was afraid to speak to Noah about it, lest he should be angry with him on the account of it. And then it says, and in the 13th Jubilee, in the second week, in the first year thereof, he took to himself a wife. Now notice, all this is going on, and this dude is now getting married. He's keeping all this stuff secret. Noah didn't even know he found this book. The things that happened before supposed to have stayed buried. But that didn't happen. He took to himself a wife. In the second week, in the first year thereof, he took to himself a wife, and her name was Milcah, the daughter of Mediah, the son of Japheth. And in the fourth year, he begat a son, and he called his name Shelah. So you mean to tell me Ham people is now crossing over to marry Japheth's people? For he said, truly, I have been sent. And in the fourth year, he was born. And Shelah grew up and took to himself a wife, and her name was Milcah, the daughter of Kesed, his father's brother. In the one of the 13th Jubilee, in the 5th week, in the 5th year thereof, and he bore him a son in the 5th year thereof, and he called his name Eber. And he took unto himself a wife, and her name was Azurad, the daughter of Nimrod. In the 32nd Jubilee, in the 17th week, in the 3rd year thereof. And in the 6th year thereof, she bare him son and called his name Peleg. For in the days when he was born, the children of Noah began to divide the earth among themselves. For this reason, he called his name Peleg. Now stop. Right there, everybody said, "Oh, that's when disasters came upon the earth." The disaster was already here. It was already before Peleg. Peleg came after the flood. It's that when men began to live upon the earth and multiply, that's when they started carving out the land in the areas of the earth where Ham, Shem, and Japheth descendants supposed to have been going. Okay? Peleg represents when the descendants became enormous, that they now is going in to take the possession of the land. That's what's taking place. See, the descendants of Shem, the descendants of Ham, the descendants of Japheth had now become great. Now they can now move into the areas to divide up the earth. See, the flood had already happened. See, the brother who found the writings was way before Peleg. And those writings were passed down, dealing with the watchers. And they, in verse 9 says, and they divided it secretly among themselves, and told it to Noah. This what Ham, Shem, and Japheth did. But during the time of Peleg is when actually it took place. See, this is how the Dark Ages began. Getting into that era, because the Antediluvian world is now going out. And it came, verse 10, and it came to pass in the beginning of the 33rd Jubilee, and that they divided the earth into 3 parts. For Shem and Ham and Japheth, according to the inheritance of each. This is the reason why the Creator said what he said in Deuteronomy, the 9th chapter, to the Israelites. It's not because you're Israel, because you stiff-necked in rebellion. It's because of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, what they came about. It's the reason why I'm honoring the covenant. In the first year, in the first week, when one of us who had been sent was with them, and he called his sons and drew nigh to him, that they and their children, and he divided the earth into lots, for the 3 sons were to take in possession. And they reached forth their hands and took the writing out of the bosom of Noah, their father. So watch this. The land was given into lots, and the lots had what was called an allotted title. That's the reason why you can't buy your brother's land, because each one of them have an allotted title from the father. And the land just supposed to have been passed down. See, they are taking over what was already there. I'm not going to get into the part of the Middle Earth, but let's finish up verse. Let's watch this last little piece of video, and this is from Negro to Hebrew, debunked by Young Pharaoh, and I'm gonna talk about this in a second. we're about done. Let me get into this real quick. We're about done. Give me about 10 more minutes and we're done. Let me share my screen. This. I'm not gonna watch the whole. We're not gonna watch the whole video. Okay. Let me go here. Fair use. Let me put this. Hold on. Let me come from out of this real quick. I don't want to do this. I need to do this first. Forgive me. All right, here we go. All right. Fair use. Let's go. Yeah, I'm going to get into something with young Pharaoh and show you exactly what the brother was saying in the first video that I showed. But just before that, let's get into the brother who wrote From Negro to Hebrew.
Piece the true heritage of Black people in America as it pertains the ancient Hebrew Israelites of the Bible. God will reveal to Ron the real reason why Blacks have been oppressed for so many years. Over the years, this knowledge was too much to bear alone, and it was too much information not to share with his people. Ron then embarked on writing a book about the knowledge he had obtained from God, and at that same time, he also began putting together an educational documentary DVD presentation full of pictures, charts, facts, and ancient quotes to back his message. He titled the DVD and books Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America. After this, he put together a website, thenegronetwork.com, to spread his message to everybody in America and the world. Today, Ron enjoys teaching and enlightening others on the real truth. Ron believes that real truth is priceless. It cannot be stopped from reaching the world. Ron's favorite motto, a lie cannot live forever, holds very true in his educational work, Hebrews to Negroes, as he exposes the lies and reveals the truth. For more information about the author, you can visit the negronetwork.com. And that's been linked in the Jumbotron. So that's the bio that I have for Ron. You guys, if we can give me a hand clap or some hearts and things like that, some interactivity in the space. Thank you so much. Welcome to my space, Ron. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. And so I just wanted to, get into these questions with you. What launched your initial?
Now, this is the brother that did the documentary From Hebrew to Negro. I want y'all to pay attention to what he is about to speak on of why he did this documentary. Check him out. Let's go.
Initial quest to put together.
And it did real quick. This right here goes into what the first video was talking about, how people come up with things to stay in power for money and etc. Okay, and for religious purposes and for eugenics purposes as well. Check it out. Let's go.
Hebrews to Negroes. What was the deciding factor for you?
Well, being the son of a pastor, over the years growing up, we would be in church all the time. But as I got older and I started working in the hospital as a PA, a physician assistant, then I started, like the Bible says, I started to see these things happening to Black people in all types of forms. You know, in the hospital, you see domestic violence, you see psychiatric issues, social issues. You'll see, physical ailments, short term, long term. You know, all types of things, murder, drug overdose. You know, it was just nonstop every year after year in the hospital, in the ER. It's a trauma level 1 hospital with tons of black people. Detroit at the time had like 1 million black people in there until they started leaving Detroit. But when one day I was sitting in the back of the church in the afternoon service, and I was already in my career, and I just opened up the Bible that was in the back of the pew, and it was on Deuteronomy 28, and I started reading it from the beginning to the end. And in Deuteronomy 28, it talks about the curses of Israel and the blessings of Israel.
Now, I want to stop right there. See, everybody always go to that Deuteronomy 28 and they talk about the blessings and the curses, but they don't never talk about Israel being in their own land according to the Deuteronomy 28. They never say that. They always say, oh, that's when they came on slave ships. Let's go. Let's keep going. Watch.
If the Israelites were to keep the commandments and laws and statutes of God, which are listed in the law of Moses. We all know about the 10 commandments, but there's more commandments than just 10. But the Bible says if we were to keep these commandments, then we would receive the blessings of Israel. And if we didn't keep the commandments, then we would have the curses of Israel.
But notice he keeps saying black people. Now, I understand what the word black means with, in legal terms or whatever. But just for the sake of the conversation here, the melanated people, he's putting all melanated people in the same boat. Let's go. And next week, we're going to talk about this. I'm not going to get into this today, but I'm going to show you why the melanated people on the earth is at the bottom. Let's keep going.
That will continue for generation upon generation until we, wake up and come back to God and His command.
And that's the same thing was supposed to happen to Adam. He need to go out to drown or to let the life beat him up, and then he have to make sure he come back through the door. His wife's supposed to help him come back through the door in order for him to get back to the garden and refresh the garden back in order for him to enjoy the Sabbath with the Creator. This is the same thing. Deuteronomy 28 is talking about the same thing of what happened with Adam. Let's go.
Commandments. And so when I read that in the last verse of Deuteronomy 28:68 says, I will bring you into Egypt again with ships, and from there you'll be sold as bondmen and bondwomen to other nations. And so that means slaves. And then the word ships is also in there. And the word Egypt in Hebrew means like a house of bondage. It means trouble and affliction and distress and dire.
You see what he says ships mean? House of bondage, trouble. See, he said that's what ships mean. So let's watch what he say. I bet you he's gonna take you way overseas. Watch. Let's go.
Dire straits and hard times. It means to be bound up and to be captured and tied up. Because Hebrew is basically you have a root, and the root of the word kind of explains why the word means what it means. So it's more than just the word means this. In the lexicon, it's also a meaning behind the word that is something that's seen when you look at ancient Hebrew, not modern Hebrew, ancient Hebrew. And so I just looked at that and said, well, nobody on planet Earth has been scattered to the four corners to be slaves.
Now, see, scattered to the four corners. They don't even understand what the scatter of the four corners really mean. See, they think that's talking about from hemisphere to hemisphere. So you telling me Israel's in Antarctica now? Israel's in Greenland? Israel's in Norway? So Israel's in all these places. See, that's why I say we got to listen to people, because people will put you in places and tell you stuff because of profit and money. Let's keep going.
Slave ships other than black people.
See, he come back with slave ships. He says commerce to be slaves or slave ships other than black people.
not the white Jews.
Not the white Jews. He said Caucasians didn't come on slave ships. This is this man who wrote from Hebrew to Negro. He's putting you in a foreign land. Let's go.
Black people. And after I read that, and I read through all the other curses of Israel, you know, like you should not lend to them. They're going to lend to you. You're going to be on the bottom. They're going to be on the top. You know, you're going to have sons and daughters that are going into captivity. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. And all these things, like the fruit of your labor and the fruit of the land that you're on, another nation is going to benefit.
It never said the fruit of the land that you're on. It says the fruit of your land. See how he's parsing words. And watch this. Out of all this, what he about to say, I wonder when Genesis 9:27 ever took place. Let's keep going.
So the very land that we stand on, and the very land that we toil and we work and slave on, and the fruit of our labor.
See, notice what it says, and the land that we slave on. That ain't what that curse says. See how he adding words? And this is the man that y'all back up and y'all say, oh, he literally made a movie. He's supposed to have got this epiphany inside of a church. This is his own words. Let's keep going. See, this is what I'm talking about when people sit there and give you stuff and don't take you and teach you about truth. Adam fell. And when Adam fell, family, he fell and everything was taken from him from the land that he was given. Why would Israel be why would Israel be any different? Let's go.
Another nation is going to benefit from, not us. And so when I looked at all these different verses, I said, this is talking about us. It's not talking about the Jewish people today. And being the son of a pastor and going to church my whole life, you know, I asked my dad and other people, ministers in the church, could we be the Israelites? And we've been tricked all this time. And they didn't want to hear none of that stuff. They was like, no, Jesus is white. We're Gentiles. What are you talking about? You know, now it's not the time. Maybe another day, you know, blah, 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 blah. And so I just asked God to show me the truth. And when he showed me the truth, I started to, you know, do research, and different doors will open up like a Pandora box, like a secret door leads to another secret door. And so it led me to find out the truth about our identity. Because in the Christian church and in the public school system, in many Black inner cities, nobody was teaching this to us. The only thing we were being taught in the schools is that we are descendants of slaves from Africa. And then also in church, you're being taught that you're a Gentile and that Gentiles can be saved. You know, just believe and have faith in Christ, your Savior, and don't worry about who are you according to the Bible. Just remember that you're a Gentile, and a Gentile. The term Gentile is just a word. Doesn't tell you your ethnicity or lineage or heritage or your ancestry. And so Black people just accept these terms and just go about their daily lives without trying to connect to who they really are. So that was the quest that started it all. And of course, after all the information that I had put together and saved and printed out and jotted down notes and stuff, you know, I use all this research to make the book. And in the second book, and the third book, and the fourth book, and then the movie, and the second movie, and the third movie, and the fourth movie, you know. And it's just that now, because of Kyrie Irving, is getting a lot more attention than what it was getting in 2014 and 15 and coming up to right now.
And see, a lot of people started watching this stuff because they literally bought into the point that Israel came from overseas. A lot of people bought into the point that Israel came from overseas. This is what a lot of people bought into. Let's go.
I wanted to ask you specifically because I grew up in my teenage years in a Pentecostal apostolic religion, which is, for those who never, experienced that, it's another level of Christianity. And continually we were taught that we were Gentiles over and over again. So I was led to believe we were kind of just, we weren't the chosen people of God. We were, the others, so to speak. And so this information being exposed to me, opened up my eyes to a different perspective of who we are and who I am, because it, it really goes against what, we've been taught in these Black churches. And you growing up with, in the household of a pastor or a preacher, you know how much, doctrine is important. How do you believe that the current state of the Black church is, and how do you what do you think that they would take from by watching Hebrews to Negroes now?
Well, I'm not telling them to change their doctrine because I still believe in the Old Testament and the New Testament.
He said, I'm not telling them to change their doctrine in the church, because he believe in the Old Testament and New Testament. This way we coming to the end at. Listen to what he say closely. Let's go back again. Let's see. Let's hear what she say again. Listen real closely, family.
Led to believe we were kind of just, we weren't the chosen people of God. We were, the others, so to speak. And so this information being exposed to me, opened up my eyes to a different perspective of who we are and who I am, because it, it really goes against what, we've been taught in these Black churches. And you growing up with, in the household of a pastor or a preacher, you know how much, doctrine is important. How do you believe that the current state of the Black church is, and how do you, what do you think that they would, take from by watching
Here we
Hebrews
go.
to Negroes now?
Check them out.
Well, I'm not telling them to change their doctrine because I still believe in the Old Testament and the New Testament and salvation through Christ. We know that in the Apostolic Pentecostal Church that people are being baptized, people are being filled with the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues, and all that stuff that happens in the Black church. But the only thing that I'm incorporating into, I guess, this religious community, if they accept it, is our truth in terms of our identity. So, the Bible says that God is a spirit. You cannot worship him except in spirit and in truth. And so we may have the spirit and the gifts of the spirit, but there's a lot of truth that has been hidden from us.
So in other words, you still can go to church, speak in tongues, receive a Holy Ghost, believe in Jesus Christ, but just kind of incorporate that you the Israelites. Don't change nothing, but just incorporate that you an Israelite. Let's go.
And stolen from us and not given to us. And so this is just a addition of truth that the Black church should be able to teach and not be ashamed of it. Because when we go to Sunday school or Bible class, it should be also important to identify and teach that Black boy, Black woman, Black child, whatever, that you are a descendant of the Israelites.
So every Black person that's in America is an Israelite. Tell me, who's the Canaanites? Who's the Egyptians? Who's the Moabites? Who's the Jebusites? Who's Assyria? I need to know this. Because if everybody Black in America, if everybody who's melanated in America is Israel, then tell me where these other people are. Let's go.
King David, King Solomon, these are your ancestors. And so therefore we have to insert ourselves into the book. Now that we read the Bible, that this is a book about our ancestors. And therefore any types of prophecy that comes in the future is going to be surrounding our people, not just the people that we see in the news in Israel today. So that's a big thing to swallow, to understand that you are the chosen people, you're the children of Israel, and now you need to start inserting yourself into the book as the Israelites, so that you can understand the past, the present, and the future.
So this is the point where I'm saying he telling you don't change nothing that you got going on in the church. Just incorporate it that you the Israelites. You see the confusion? You see the confusion? Now I'm gonna end it right here. I'm gonna pick up little Pharaoh next week. I'm gonna pick that up next week. So I'm gonna end it right here. I'm gonna end it right here. I'm gonna pick up a little Pharaoh next week. This gonna be the thing where we pick up next week at. Any points? Anybody want to say anything before we leave out? Because we're dealing with the antediluvian world of the fall of Adam. You was dealing just before the flood. Because after the flood, there was a book that was found. There was writings that was dealing with the watchers. And we're going to talk about that next week before we get into chapter 4. See, because everybody claimed they got this and got that, but nobody don't know where this stuff really come from. How this technology became so prevalent. Who did they tap into? What did they tap into? Where did they get the information from? See, this is where it's getting good at. This is where it's getting good at. Because the information was found after the flood. But we got to go backwards. We got to go backwards now. And now we're going to get into Cain and Abel. See, now we're going to get into a lot of the stuff that was transpiring and taking place before the flood really took place, of the reason why the Creator destroyed it from the beginning and destroyed it before Adam and Eve came about. This ain't the first time that destruction came about the earth. Anybody got anything to say before we go? If not, we're gonna ride.
All praises for the message that went forth today.
So we have to get to the point. All praises. We have to get to the point to realize what really took place. Because Adam and Eve fell. And they fell. They fell into a dimension that they're going to have to fight now. Multiple dimensions. They got to go and get their food now. And who they going to have to fight to get it? Because the Creator put a drought right there where they can't come back. And if they do go back, they're going to starve. That let them know that the Creator wasn't playing. He pulled everything away from them that created life for them, that helped them sustain life. That's gone. So we thank the Creator for you being here. May your Shabbat, the rest of your day, be peaceful, relaxful, and restful. We're getting ready to go ahead on to close out the Feast of Unleavened. We thank y'all. For those who came in, if this is your Shabbat, we like to say Shabbat Shalom. Continue your day. And if you're going into Passover, hey, happy Passover. And if you're coming out of Passover on the Feast of Unleavened, you're breaking, hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. All praises, shalom, shalom. And we'll see y'all on next Shabbat. Same time. Same channel. Shalom.